The next question of CodeGIF starters 117 is weapon choice.
Again, a question from Chef. In the first question, we saw Chef was buying some phone. In this question, Chef is playing a video game. He's a jolly guy, right? In this question, Chef is playing a video game where he has to defeat the boss with H.
Yeah.
And he can use only two weapons, X and Y.
Yeah.
Okay. X and Y, he can only use two weapons. Yeah. Question seems alright, but when we dive deep into the question says there is a boss.
Yeah.
With HL and Chef has two weapons.
Yeah.
Chef in the video game, of course, he doesn't carry weapons in his home.
Yeah.
Chef has two weapons, which is X and Y. He can use either of the weapons to kill boss.
Yeah.
So you all might agree with the weapon which has higher damage, he will choose that only. So the catch is for X weapon, the damage is fixed. That means for X, if damage is X itself, for the first weapon, if damage is X itself, it will remain X.
Yeah.
But for the second weapon, after firing or after using it for K times, the damage will drop. If damage was Y, after K rounds of firing or using, it will become
Y2.
Y2, let's say.
Initial was Y1.
Initially, you can say as Y1.
Yeah.
Initial damage was Y1. After firing or using it after K times, it will become Y2.
It became
and of course, Y2 will be less than Y1.
Yeah.
So here comes the question and complete understanding of the question. Let's see what test cases are there to say. The first test case is 20, 4, 12, 1, and 3.
Yeah.
If you look at the format, H it is, and 4 is X, that means damage of first weapon. Y1, Y2. Here 1 is Y2, and 3 is K.
Yeah.
K is 3. Now, if you tell me if H is the health of the boss and he has two weapons, that means it's X and Y1 is 12. That means damage of second weapon is 12. So you can say just choose 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because for 3 rounds or for first 3 rounds, the damage of Y1 weapon will remain 12.
Yeah.
So just by using 12 two times, correct? Just by using 12 two times, it will deal a damage of 24, which is greater than health of the boss 20. That means we might have already killed the boss within two usage of Y1 weapon, second weapon itself. Yeah. So first case, we got 2 as answer. So what exactly we have to turn as output is now how many rounds or how many times we need to use a weapon to kill the boss. Correct. In the first test case, we use second weapon with Y1 damage 2 times to kill the boss. Let's see what happens in the second test case. Second sample input. Same, the boss health is still 20. X1 X is 4, Y1 is 12, Y2 is 1, and but this time K is equal to 1. We saw last time K was 3. In this case, K is 1. Let's say if you use the same approach as before, will it work? Boss health has 20. Initially, if we choose Y1, this is Y2 of course. If we choose Y1, will deal 12 damage. Boss health will be left with 8. But after firing the first round itself, Y1 damage, the weapon of second damage will reduce to 1. That means it will no longer deal 12 damage, it will deal 1 damage itself. Now we have to use Y2 itself because the question says once you use a weapon, be it first weapon or second weapon, you cannot change it further. That means you can pick only one of the weapons. So in this case, as we choose the second weapon, first time we did damage of Y1, that is 12. Next we got left with 8. Again we have to use Y2 8 times. Yeah. So in total we use 1 plus 8, 9 times or 9 rounds of firing to kill boss using second weapon. But let's see if we use the first weapon, how many rounds it will take? 4 into 5 is greater than or equal to 20, correct? That means if we use the first weapon with X damage and we use it 5 times, we'll kill the boss. So by using X, we use 5. By using second weapon, we use 1 plus 8, that is 9. So 5 is of course minimum and 5 is the answer also. Yeah. And let's look at the last test case, which is a bit confusing. 117, 21, 35, 10 and 2. Here 2 is K value. It is Y2. It is Y1.
Yeah.
It it is H and it is H. Now we need to deal 117 damage. Correct. Now we need to deal 117 damage using two of the weapons. Yeah. So let's see what will be the damage if we use only the first weapon. 21 into 6, which will be 126 or something.
Yeah.
That means we need to use at least 6 rounds of firing to kill the boss with
Weapon
117 health with weapon 1.
Yeah.
So in this case, number of rounds we used was 6. But let's say is 6 the minimum answer. If we use second weapon, 35, we are allowed to use 2 times. That means first weapon will deal a damage of 35 2 times, which will be 35 plus 35, which is 70. And if we use 70 on boss, which has 117 health, but boss seems pretty lazy and heavy. 117 health. 170 minus 70, which gives us 47. But now, as we use y1 k times, now it will damage reduce down to y2.
Yeah.
And y2 damage is 10, as we saw. Now to deal 47 damage, you might say we will require more 5 rounds.
Yeah.
So in total, we use 2 here and 5 here, total 7. So out of this 6 using weapon 1 and this 7 out of weapon 2, it is wiser to use the first weapon, that is 6. And minimum round required is 6.
Yeah.
And as you can see, 6 is the answer.
Yeah.
So this is the question. Hope you understood. Now coming to the approach.
So we can solve this with simple math. So firstly, the first thing is for chef, it is always optimal to pick the weapon which, like the weapon, if he uses that weapon, that should cost him the minimum number of hits, right? So picking such a weapon is better. But we don't know which weapon that is. So what we can do is fixing each weapon, we can calculate how many hits do we need for that weapon. If in case Chef picked that weapon, how many hits do we need to kill the boss? Similarly, in case if he picks the other weapon, how many hits do we need to kill the boss? So now let's calculate for weapon 1, right? So for weapon 1, how many hits do we need to kill the boss? Because for weapon 1, damage is already fixed. We can say we need seal of health of boss minus X number of hits, right? Because per hit, X damage is being done on the boss. So this is the number of hits for weapon 1. And let me call it as hits for weapon 1. Now, number of hits that we need for weapon 2 would be, this is little trickier. So here, if we look over, for first K rounds, we'll be dealing with the damage of Y1, right?
Correct.
So that means if in case, let's say K into Y1 is greater than the current health of the boss, then can we say that within K rounds we can kill the boss? Within the first K rounds, right?
Less than or equal to K.
It's less than or equal to K. So we can kill the boss within K rounds. So we don't know like if we need less than K rounds or not, right? So first case work here is if Y into K, Y1 into K, if it is greater than or equal to H, then we can say within K rounds we can kill him.
Correct.
So now number of hits we need, we can calculate it as follows: seal part of H by Y1, right? This will be the number of hits. Else, if this is not the case, that means Y1 into K is smaller than H, right?
Correct.
That means K rounds were insufficient.
Or health was larger.
Yeah, or health was larger. So now we know that we already deal the damage of. Firstly, we already used K rounds.
Mhm.
After using K rounds, the leftover damage is H minus K into Y1. This is the leftover damage. Now, from now on, we can only using this weapon, we can deal a damage of Y2 only, right? So K rounds are done, plus the extra rounds would be seal part of H minus the leftover K into Y1, the health by Y2.
Correct.
So uh, it depends on how much is Y1 K and H and which case it belongs to. So once we calculate the hits of weapon 1 and weapon 2, it is the minimum of both, right?
Can we try run for a sample test case?
Yeah. Minimum of weapon 1 hits, weapon 2 hits. So it's always optimal for chef to pick a weapon which gives out minimum hits. So minimum hits would be this. So if we take the test case,
So I'll speak for all the viewers. I'll speak for all viewers. The third sample test case, that is 20,
20,
4,
4,
12, 3, and 1.
12, 3, and 1.
Yes.
So let's pick this and dry run the same thing.
Correct.
So for weapon 1, this is H, right? This is X, Y1, this is Y2, and this is K. Right? So for weapon 1, the damage dealt was, the damage dealt was X. So number of hits would be H by seal part of H by X. Right? Here it is seal part of 20 by 4, which is 5. So for weapon 1, we need 5 hits.
Correct.
For weapon 2, let's see which case it belongs to. If we look over Y1 into K, that is not lesser than H, right? That is not greater than H. So that means it belongs to the following case. Y1 into K is less than H. Because this is the case, we know for sure we need to perform K rounds. Plus the leftover health would be. So here K is 1. We'll directly take the values. 1 plus leftover health is 20
minus 12 into 1.
Minus 12 into 1 by
2, that is 3. Okay.
Seal part of it. So this is 1 plus, if you look over this above part will be 8. So it is 1 plus 3, which is 4.
Correct. And out of 2 weapons, 4 and 5, we got minimum answer as 4. So answer is 4.
So among these two, the minimum is 4.
Correct.
So the answer is 4.
Okay. Yes.
Within 4 hits, chef can kill the.
Coming to time and space complexity.
So if we look at time complexity, it is big of 1, as we are just doing math for each test. Space is also big of 1. These all are put.
So just math and observation.
Yeah.